Call this meeting to order of the Mayor and Commissioners, Town of Rising Sun for August 13th, 2019. Calvin, you want to do roll call since Judy is
Sure.
off tonight?
Commissioner Braun,
Here.
Commissioner Warnick,
Here.
Commissioner Pearson,
Here.
Vice Mayor Arthurleith.
Here.
Let the record reflect that all elected officials are in attendance with the exception of Mayor Travis Marion.
Okay, can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Can we have a moment of silence tonight? Let's remember there's a Baltimore City police officer, I think, who was recently attacked in front of his home, wasn't he, Chief? And he's in bad shape. You know, it's those kind of things that he was off duty and going home, and somebody tried to rob him in front of his house and shot him up bad. So let's keep those guys in our thoughts tonight. Okay, moving on. Public presentations. We have no public presentations tonight. Business meeting items. We have Resolution 2019-07, Election Board Appointments. Calvin, you want to read that into the record?
Yeah, if I stop wrecking the place over here, I keep knocking things over. What you have before you is a resolution. As you're familiar, this is the town elections are this October, and the town needs to appoint a board of election judges, and that's what this resolution is. Town of Rising Sun Resolution 2019-07, appointment of board of election judges. Whereas the town located in Cecil County, Maryland is a municipality organized under the provisions of the Maryland Constitution and governed under the provisions of the local government article of the annotated code of Maryland. And whereas the town is proclaimed as a perpetual entity with the right to pass laws, and whereas the Town of Rising Sun's charter contains C-6 titled Board of Election Judges and Election Process, which establishes the creation of a Board of Election Judges made up of 3 members plus 1 alternate member who will serve 2-year terms. And whereas the Board of Election Judges shall be in charge of all town elections, ballot preparation, counting of ballots, and election verification. The Board of Election Judges shall decide all questions of registration of voters and the verification of candidate qualifications. And whereas the Mayor and Commissioners wish to fulfill these open positions on this board for the upcoming town elections to be held on October 21st, 2019, therefore, the Mayor and Commissioners wish to appoint the following persons to serve on the Board of Election Judges and to serve in this position until the second Tuesday of March 2021. Mr. Stephen Miller, Ms. Joanne Osborne, Mr. Joseph Shepard, Ms. Carolyn Slayball. Therefore, be it further resolved that the Mayor and Commissioners of the Town of Rising Sun passed, approved, and adopted this resolution on the 13th day of August 2019.
Okay, thank you, Calvin. Can I get a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Any questions, discussion? None being heard. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you to this group for coming in and spending the whole day here for our election. It's a long day, so we appreciate that. Citizen input, we have nobody signed up to speak tonight.
I'm not really a citizen of Rising Sun.
Okay. Would you mind, Brenda, would you pass that back? Could you put your name and address and stuff like that, so we'll have that for the record, and if you want to speak? Oh, come up to the podium, because we do record our meetings, please.
I don't actually live within Rising Sun, but I have to tell you, I have reached critical mass with the stink coming from Hopewell Road. And I wonder if maybe the town could say, look, everybody's property value is going down because of this thing. And maybe as a town, we could petition these people to de-stink that thing.
Are you talking about the mushroom
It's
facility?
not a mushroom house anymore. All they do is
Soil
manure.
processing
It's not
facility.
even, it's not even a farming thing. You know, it was, when it was a farm type thing, it was, 2 days a month when they mucked out the place. Now it's every day, middle of winter, middle of summer. Tried to sell my house and it was really a hard thing because of that stink every time you open your door. Now it doesn't smell, so clearly they can make it so that it doesn't. So I think that because everybody in town is affected, maybe it would have a little more weight if town says to the county, look, you got to clean that place up. This is ridiculous. Is that a do?
Can you give us your name, please?
Oh, I'm Connie McElwain. I live at 223 Joseph Biggs Memorial Highway. Lived here since 1984. So it definitely has changed since then.
Yes. Yes, it does.
I'm not in town. I'm one of the few that isn't somehow. I don't know how that managed, but
If you have an email, I have phone numbers I can send to you to rattle the right cages.
all right. Well, I'm never here. I'm trying to sell my house because I'm not here.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So,
Well, if you got a mailing address, I can throw them in the mail to you.
yeah, box 637.
Box 637,
Yeah,
Rising Sun.
hmm
And your name again?
Constance McElwain. MC, capital ILWAIN.
Okay.
Thank you,
Used to
Jane.
be, I never smelled that thing.
Yeah.
Now it's like every
You know
day.
what you're talking about. It's, all right, thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate to air my grievance. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Mayor, given that Mr. Vice Mayor, given that she's leaving, can I quickly address it? I was gonna wait till my commissioner comments, but since you're leaving.
Sure. You were gonna say something about that?
We've actually been working with the state, and MDE has cited them, I think 3 times in about the last 2 years for different things. Most of it's been like burning and such, but, so we've been working with them. The problem is that most of it happens, the worst of the smell is after hours.
Or
So,
before hours?
yeah, so it's hard to get, so we've struggled to get it addressed because most of the compliance stuff happens during the day. So we're working on it.
Can't catch them in red-handed.
Yeah, we're working on it, but it's been challenging.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, staff reports. Chief. Hey, Tom.
Good evening, Commissioners. During the period of, it's only 1 week, the last week of July until the 13th of August, the officers wrote 22 citations and 48 warnings for traffic violations throughout town. There has been a uptick in enforcement of the motor vehicle violations throughout town. We're closing in on school returning, and we want to get a good jump start on safety with children walking through town and the pedestrian traffic created by some of the local businesses. So the officers have been out and enforcing the traffic laws. We've also found that we've gotten numerous amount of DWIs out of it, and hopefully we're re-educating the public so that when you come to Rising Sun, they know don't drink and drive and abide by all the state regulations. In addition, 13 criminal arrests were made and 1 juvenile arrest was made during that period. In the last budget cycle, I requested a program called Lexipol. What this is an electronic version of our police department manuals, our policies and procedures. This will give the officers the ability to be on a call, and if they have a question about how things are supposed to go, look at their cell phone and have our procedures and policies in their hands. It also provides that the software or the company will maintain a constant review of case law, state law, federal law, and best practices in police work, so we're consistent with most agencies throughout the country and state. We're ahead of the implementation plan by a few weeks, and hopefully we'll have this up and running very soon so that the officers will have access to that. And if there's any questions, we can immediately just plug in what we need and find an answer. I've also written 2 grants. One was a grant from the local government insurance trust that would give us 20% off the cost of that Lexipol program. They support the program. It helps reduce loss, and hopefully, we get an award out of that that will reduce the cost of it. Also, the Bureau of Justice Assistance grant cycle just ended, and I submitted a grant to include in-car cameras for the police department. If we're awarded the grant, we will be putting car cameras in the vehicles so that we can get more of what happened beforehand on a traffic stop than what happened after the officer gets out of the car. So they'll work in conjunction, and hopefully this will increase transparency, answer questions about complaints, because it helps drive down the number of complaints, because now you have a set of eyes watching the officer and the citizens, and it helps to collect evidence of what crime may occur. So hopefully all of that comes about. We'll be sitting better as a police department with a lot of less risk, and we should do a lot better. And with that being said, that is my report for now.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Calvin, Town Administrator, you have anything else to add tonight for a report?
The only thing I wanted to bring up is that Tom and I are working, Tom, our KCI engineer, and I are working on putting together a road repaving package for this paving year. Right now, I'm in the process of trying to get the financing for it, but the streets that are tentatively involved in it is the Valley View development, to repave all of the Valley View development, Reynolds Avenue, Mount Street, from where we left off at the last paving project in and around Haynes Avenue down to the end of the town maintenance, the beginning of the county maintenance down there, where we used to have that big split in the paving on Mount Street. We've since crack sealed it or filled it with crack filler, which is holding up okay, but we'd like to get that repaved. And then Pearl Street from right around where we left off a couple years ago down to the end of the town maintenance to the county line around the Summer Hill area. We're looking to pave down there. The total on that is roughly about $642,000 for that package. And in our plans to potentially expand our water system is where we're going to pick up the Wilson Avenue paving project, because we can replace the undersized water line on Wilson Avenue, get the hydrant out of the streets down by the Fisher property, and potentially get a larger water line past the services that go down towards the cemetery, and get a line and a hydrant on the other side of the cemetery drive. If you remember, in the past we were talking about running the water line through the park to potentially get a water line out to Rising Sun Elementary School. With all the resistance that we're getting from the county and the school allegedly suggesting that they don't want water out there, we're sort of dropping back and punting and just extending the water line down. We'll use that available money to run the water line down Wilson Road and fix that instead. So that would be covered under the leftover USDA money that we have. So that's not part of the 642 package. So hopefully at the next meeting, we'll be coming to you with a resolution for you to authorize those paving projects once we get the financing.
On Reynolds Avenue, are you gonna upgrade the water line?
No, at this particular juncture, we're looking to do the sidewalks because we don't think there's going to be enough money to do all of that. So
Okay, clarify something for me. What are we doing on Reynolds Avenue?
at this point, we're paving and doing the sidewalk. And then one of the things that we've been entertaining is the idea potentially when we go to do that water line, one of the things that communities are beginning to do is put the water lines in right-of-ways in the yards so that when you have issues in the future, you're hypothetically not digging up your street or creating road stuff. So when we get the available funds, because that water distribution system alone, when we were priced it before, is going to be close to about $1 million to redo that system in there. Because redoing that, it's all fed by the undersized lines leading up to it. So putting a larger line on that particular road alone is not going to help the situation. Since we've started the monthly flushing plans, we've had a significant reduction in any brown water complaints that we've had there. So we can talk about it further if you want, but that's a logistical financial issue we're running into.
Okay. All right, we'll go into commissioners' reports. Under Vice Mayor, one thing I want to talk about, last meeting I talked about our issue with trash and recycling. One thing that we found coming back from Cecil County landfill, styrofoam is not part of our single stream recycling. So don't put styrofoam in there, even though it may have that symbol on it. There's a place, if you're a good steward of recycling and you want to recycle your styrofoam, there is a place close by in Pennsylvania. Calvin, I done forgot the name you told me of the place.
It's the Lanchester landfill on Division Highway, and
So-
they do take styrofoam.
Okay.
They actually recycle just about everything.
That I'm
Yeah.
not sure, Jane. If you, like I said, if you're a good steward of recycling and want to look into it, that's the information we have right now. I know some people take boxes of styrofoam cups there, but Cecil County right now doesn't. Also, plastic bags, we got dinged for plastic bags being in there. So we send out a letter each month with the water bills that shows what the county currently allows and doesn't allow. So
John, you told me the holdup was the fact that the recyclables were in plastic bags, not that they were
Possible,
bags in the
yeah.
can, they were in plastic bags.
right, they don't allow here in plastic bags, and if you throw in like the plastic bags from the grocery stores, they're not allowed, or plastic
It can't be
bags
either way.
that stuff come in like a big bundle of paper towels. The plastic bag, they come wrapped in, it's not part of it. So in order to help keep I talked quite extensively with Frank Very out in Chesapeake City about their trash issues they've had and the cost. Cecil County's become very expensive. I made a trip there last week with personal stuff, not a whole lot, and it was $25 for me to go to the landfill on a Saturday morning to get rid of some stuff. It's become very expensive. So in order to help keep our property taxes down here, we need to really be conscientious of what we're putting in the trash and what we're putting in our recycling cans. So that's all I have tonight. So let's see, Commissioner Pearson.
I have nothing tonight.
Okay. Commissioner Braun,
I have nothing tonight.
Commissioner Warning.
The only thing I have is, well, I guess two things. We had movies in the park. I think it was 2 weekends ago at this point, and we had roughly 50 people show up at the firehouse. So, pretty good crowd for anything aside from Kilby's. Kilby's have been a small crowd, but every other event we've had has been, that or smaller. Shortly after, I would like to thank the chief. Thank you to your police department, to you guys. Shortly after Movies in the Park, there was a incident that occurred with some of the Movies in the Park patrons still at the event. I had just left, was hauling the equipment back to town hall, and noticed a guy walking down 274. Didn't think a whole lot of it, other than just kind of strange. He was walking along 274 with his dog, and maybe Chief, if you want to kind of give a little bit more, but
Apparently, he was in possession of a firearm. It wasn't known at that time, well, it wasn't known immediately that it was a airsoft type, pellet gun type weapon, but he was firing at vehicles, at the sign, and towards the firehouse. The people that were still around the firehouse had to be ushered inside, and they were placed in lockdown until the officers got there and were able to take him into custody without any injury to him or anyone else.
so I would, I'd just like to, thank you for your guys' professionalism on that, and as usual, and I'm glad that it wasn't anything serious, especially given it was Movies in the Park event. It would have been, not a great night if something would have happened there.
Not at all.
So anyway, that's all I have, but I believe there's actually this weekend, there's a church doing a Movies in the Park at Veterans Park. I think it's Saturday night. Matter of fact, it's the 17th, yeah, so it's this Saturday night. I don't know exactly all the details on it. Apparently they've bought the license and everything, so I don't, but I'm not sure what movie it is offhand, but if I can find it, I will post it on my Facebook page.
Don't we have tax-free week going on this week for back-to-school
For
shopping too?
clothes and book bags up to $40.
Every little bit helps.
And
Yeah.
computers too, right?
I think it might include, some computers and stuff, yeah. Yeah, certain.
Okay. Is that it?
That's the end of my
Mr.
report, thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Arthurmead. I think because of what happened 2 Fridays ago with the trash collection, maybe we might want to make a statement
Okay,
about,
you,
yeah.
for those that don't know, maybe fill them in.
Yeah, it just reminded me when you were talking about the recycling. As you know, Commissioner Arthurmead has been very diligent, as the rest of the board has been, about talking about the high recycling costs that we're incurring because our recycling has been contaminated, as we've alluded to before. However, 2 Fridays ago, we followed one of the we got some tips from some residents, one of them being Commissioner Arthurmead, that the trash hauler was dumping recyclables in with the trash. So we were able to follow them, and we got a video of them, in fact, doing that up on Ryan Drive. And we confronted them, and they gave us an excuse on why they were doing it, and then we contacted management, and they basically gave us a little bit more clarity in suggesting that the driver of the recycling truck and the driver of the trash truck took it upon themselves to compensate for the recycle truck malfunctioning, and the one driver suggested, well, I'll just pick up all your recyclables and throw them in the trash truck. So by careful estimates, there were about 180 properties that were dumped into the trash. We have worked that out with Waste Management so that the town does not pay for that recycling. There are penalties in our contract regarding that type of stuff, and we will be, moving forward with those also. So the town is aware of the fact that on that particular day that the hauler did contaminate it, and we appreciate those residents that reached out and let us know that that was taking place.
Okay.
Commissioner Arthurmead, or Vice Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, I actually, it's the Rising Sun Church of Nazarenes, and they are playing Batman Family Matters is the movie. I believe so. Looks like a cartoon.
Okay, so we'll all be there. All right, so upcoming meetings, we have a tentative schedule for an executive session for tomorrow night, 7:30. There's a planning commission workshop Monday, August 19th at 6:30. Next town meeting, Tuesday, August 27th, 7 p.m. We're not that far away from the next holiday, Monday, September 2nd, Labor Day. Town hall will be closed. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried, meeting adjourned. I'm sorry, Tom, did you?